warning, it's about to go deep. Perseverance. As long as I finish the race, it doesn't matter what speed I go at. Exercise for the sake of my well-being instead of how I look. Justice for persuasion. Justice for Anne Elliot.
사랑한다고 말해줬다면 믿어줄 수 있겠니? 넌 오직 상처만 받고 있었지. 미안해 baby, 네가 없는 현실 너무나도 비참해. There's no one 너 같은, 너만 고통받고 있는 게 아니야. 나도 아파 yeah baby. E-I-O-U means I love you and nothing else will do. Baby I owe you, oh yes I do, an explanation.
Hi everyone, my name is Eunice and welcome to a plan for 2023 video. I can't believe that this year is almost over. It literally did not feel that long ago that it was January 2022. In this video, we're going to start by reflecting on the year that's just gone, starting with the lessons that we learned, the things that we're thankful for, and then we'll plan for 2023 with some goal setting and intentions. And then I'll end this video with some of my favorite things from this year. So grab your cold or hot drink of choice, whether it's a matcha or tea or coffee, and let's start planning. I'm going to be doing all of my planning on my iPad. I've made a template. It's very simple. I can link it down below. It's nothing fancy. So, 2022 reflection. I think that it's really important before we start goal setting and planning for next year that we take some time to reflect on the year that's gone. We do live in a world that's all about doing and achieving and accomplishing, and hustling can be so easy to keep going and going without taking that time to reflect and slow down. There's so many things that have happened this year and it can be so easy for us to forget. So in my template, I've started with what I'm thankful for, followed by the things that I'm celebrating, life lessons, and things that I'd like to keep doing. What I'm thankful for and what I'm celebrating can be quite similar, but I gave them their own space because there are still aspects of each that are different. I'll share with you some of the things that I reflected on. I know a lot of my friends and my family watch this, and I want to say a huge thank you to all of you. I am truly thankful for you guys, have been so incredibly supportive towards me and loving towards me. I have so much to be thankful for this year, honestly. I have learned a lot, which I'll get to. I have an incredibly supportive husband who has persevered alongside me through all the ups and downs. My sister has moved to Brisbane along with her husband and her 2 kids. I started full-time Bible college this year. That's all of the study vlogs that I've been posting. If you're interested in watching those, please go ahead and watch them. And of course, for starting this YouTube channel too. That happened this year, at least more consistently. If I were to summarize in one word what 2022 was like for me, the word would be perseverance. This has been a year of ups and downs, and it's all been about perseverance for me. Perseverance and endurance in my faith as a Christian, in serving God at church, in my mental health, in my studies, and in life as a whole. Perseverance is hard, especially in a world that's telling us we need to do more and achieve more and be more successful. In a world that can be quite hostile and unforgiving. In a world that's just stained and tainted by sin. That's the world that we live in. So this year, I'm just a fair warning, it's about to go deep. This year I burnt out. It was a very challenging thing to go through. I'm definitely someone who tries to do lots, and a lot of what I do are good things.
I serve a lot at church. I like to help newcomers to feel welcome. I care a lot about people, so I want to provide pastoral care to them. I want to see where I can use my gifts where it's needed, whether that's at church or anywhere around me.
They're all good things, but I needed to learn. I'm an Enneagram 3. If you know Enneagrams, you immediately will understand what I'm saying. Over the past years, I've been needing to learn that I'm not God. I can't do everything, even if they're good things. There's a reason why God added the Sabbath into the 10 Commandments. It just shows that we need rest. God knows that we as humans need rest.
But not only is that, a huge thing that I learned this year is
that to recover and heal from burnout doesn't just require physical rest. Like, I think a lot of times when we think of rest, we just think of physical rest, whether that's being on a beach in Hawaii or just being at home and zoning out, zonking out, or just binging Netflix. While there's a time and place for that physical rest is necessary, but that's not all. As psychologist Jonathan Andrews, he's a Brisbane psychologist. Yeah, we love his work. Not sponsored or anything. As he said in this book, The Reconnected Heart, for human beings to thrive, we need a heart that's connected to God, to ourselves, and to others. Our hearts need to be connected in a three-way fashion, a triangle. When we experience burnout, it's even more important for our hearts to be connected and reconnected in these three triangle points. But it's not just for burnout too, it's for
anyone at any stage, anything that you might be healing or recovering from. This is for any human beings at any time and season of life to thrive.
To actually persevere and endure. I'm going to be talking more about burnout because that's what I experienced this year. When we experience burnout, we're likely to have some negative thoughts and attitudes towards God. Why did he allow this to happen? Why does he feel so far away? But often we're just projecting our own subjective realities of how we feel onto God. He's never actually distant. He's the one who's always steadfast and faithful. For me, what I needed to do was to cry out to God honestly with my thoughts and my feelings, just like the psalmists do in the Psalms, and allow him to change me through my prayers and through consistently reading the Bible. Secondly, we need to be connected to ourselves. This means we can't just distract ourselves or escape from our responsibilities or feelings. So many of us are so tempted to just go on a holiday when we feel burnt out and just escape our problems. While a holiday can be helpful, it won't solve anything if we're just trying to distract ourselves from the pain that we feel. We need to dig deep into how we're feeling and why we're feeling that way. And thirdly, this is a huge thing that I learned this year. We need to be connected with others, not just in a shallow, small talk kind of way, but in deep and meaningful relationships and conversations. I'm really thankful to have a deep relationship with my husband, but I also need friends too. We need to be surrounded by a community for mutual encouragement. Deep friendships is something that I honestly didn't invest in for much of this year. I spent most of my time doing things, which included serving at church and providing pastoral care to people. So I was around people, but I was more focused on what I could give to others, and I didn't realize that. And I didn't realize that I needed to also receive and be encouraged and exhorted. I wasn't investing in friendships that enabled me to experience that mutual encouragement, and that's something that I learned this year, which I would like to carry on through to next year. This year, a huge change for me was that I transitioned from working as a lawyer full-time to studying full-time at Bible college. There's been a lot of lessons learned there. I could make a whole video about it, and even then that wouldn't be enough. But the one I want to talk to you about is finances. Something that I've learned is that generosity is still just as important when you have little versus when you have lots. Another big life lesson for me was reconciliation. It's easy to feel angry and bitter towards someone who's hurt us, but it's so important to actually have a conversation with that person and hear both sides, to apologize and to forgive instead of living in misunderstandings and unforgiveness. It was put into words for me this Sunday that we should be slow to judge and quick to listen. So that's my 2022 reflections. There's a lot more, but I don't want to bore you with too much more. And now let's get on to our 2023 intentions and goal setting.
It's the end of the year. Everywhere on TV, couples and Christmas trees, gift wrapping and cheer.
So in my Good Notes template, I've split this up into intentions, personal goals, study goals, church goals, and content creation goals. Of course, it's going to be different for everyone. This is just what I've done for me, my kind of main areas. Starting with intentions, I have two sort of keywords / phrases. The first is a reconnected heart, because I do want to be focusing on that connection with God, myself, and others. Probably mostly others, as that's the one I struggle with the most. The other two I'm pretty generally consistent with. That's my first key phrase. And second is sustainability. And I don't mean environmental sustainability, even though that's something that has been close to my heart for a while now. For me, I mean sustainability in terms of me being sustainable and how I live my life. I don't want to think of this life as a sprint and use up all of my energies and my abilities in a short sprint only to find myself too exhausted and burnt out for the rest of my life. I want my life to be a marathon, and for me to sustainably, consistently, and steadfastly and faithfully run till the end, or jog, or whatever it might be. As long as I finish the race, it doesn't matter what speed I go at. That's kind of my mantra for 2023. That will require me to reorientate the way that I think. Instead of trying to be a really successful, influential person, it might mean I have to be okay with being faithful and ordinary instead, because there is such an importance to being faithful and ordinary that our world just doesn't appreciate. It's the faithful and ordinary people who have made the biggest impact in our lives. For example, our grandparents, our parents. A lot of these goals will reflect what I've already talked about. For me, I do read the Bible and pray every morning. I want to continue doing that. I want to spend time with my family. I want to invest in life-giving friendships. I want to call my grandmother and my auntie in Malaysia even more. I do call them, but I'd like to call them even more. I'd like to exercise for the sake of my well-being instead of how I look. I want to slow down and know that it's okay not to achieve. For my study, I'd like to get more involved in the life of college. I've signed up to sing at chapel services next year. I'm looking forward to that, and I'd like to just be around a bit more at college. Bible college is a bit different to university in the sense that at uni, I just clocked in, clocked out, go to class, come home, or even just study at uni or whatever. But at college, I'd like to make the most of my experience there, meet people, hopefully make some lifelong friendships, have some really deep conversations, focus on enjoying myself and what I'm learning about God rather than grades. I am Asian and an Enneagram 3, so I do focus a lot on grades and achievement. So I need to always remind myself, like I said in one of my first vlogs, good grades does not mean godliness. The character over competency. That's something that I need to learn. I need to care more about my character and what I'm learning, and actually enjoying it and delighting in the process, delighting in what I'm learning about God instead of focusing on my performance. That's something that I learned from When Striving Sees that I've been reading. With church, again, I want to serve sustainably. I want to persevere and endure and enjoy God, enjoy my church family and community, and for mutual encouragement. With content creation, I'd like to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I'd like to post weekly and vlog consistently so that you guys can have a more holistic look of what my life looks like. Hopefully I can continue to share and help people through my channel. That's sort of my goals there. So that's my 2023 goals and intentions. And now I'll end with some favorite things from this year. I do love reading, although this year I haven't read as much as I usually do. I've still read more than 10 books, but because I've been reading so much with Bible college, I just haven't had as much time to read for myself. But I'll still share my favorite fiction books of the year and non-fiction books. My favorite fiction books, number 1, North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. It was so good. I love books written from, what's that period? The 1800s, so the 19th century. Loved it. Persuasion by Jane Austen. That was so good too. The Netflix movie that they made about it was atrociously terrible, and I will tell everyone I meet that because they did not do the book justice whatsoever, and someone needs to remake a proper version of that book. Please share this widely so that people can agree with me and rage together and get justice for Persuasion. Justice for Anne Elliot. Anyway, thirdly, Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine. I really enjoyed that book. It was both really funny but also heartbreaking, and it's like it requires great skill to be able to pull off both of those. Fourth, Where the Crawdads Sing. That's pretty typical, but it was a really good book, kept me on my toes. And fifthly, Joe's Boys by Louisa May Alcott. So it's the 4th book in the Little Women series. So a lot of people don't know that there are sequels to Little Women, and they're just as good. So Joe's Boys is the last one in the installment, and Little Men is the sequel, and that was beautiful. I read that last year. So good. Would highly recommend. My favorite non-fiction books, number 1 is Ordinary by Michael Horton. Ordinary by Michael Horton. It's about sustainable faith in a radical, restless world. So it's about how much more important it is to be ordinary and faithful rather than being restless and trying to be the top 1% or whatever it is that we're striving for. And I really needed to hear that. Secondly, The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis. I really enjoyed this book. It's an allegorical book, so it's about heaven and hell, but written in a really creative way, and it was really thought-provoking. It's not exactly what heaven and hell will be like, it's just C.S. Lewis using his creative skills for fable and allegory to write about it and to get people thinking and provoke your thoughts. And thirdly, I haven't finished it yet, but I'm currently reading When Striving Cease by Ruth Chow Simons. It's so good. I would highly recommend, but it'll probably feature in my next year's video too. So I'll probably finish it next year. And other things, this year I also got really into matcha and hojicha, which you've probably seen in all of my videos like this one. I absolutely love it, hot or cold, and I'm so glad that I got into it. And I now have my whole matcha set up, which you've seen this morning with the bowl and the whisk and all that. So those are some of my favorite things from this year, and this is a wrap for this video. It feels like it's really long and I talked a lot, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed coming along with me, hearing some of my life lessons as well as goals and intentions, and I hope that this helps you as you plan for next year and what your year will look like as well as what has happened this year. But I'd love to hear from you, so if you'd like to write in the comments below what you've learned from this year, what you'd like for next year, and I'd love to read all of them, and I'll try to respond to as many as I can. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll have a great Christmas and New Year, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!